Hey guys, it's Maymay, and if you followed me through Hobby Lobby not long ago on Periscope, you might remember when I bought this guy. I'm going to peel this price tag off and bring it and show you how much I got it for. I got it on clearance. First, you can see here it was $7.99, and I thought that was an awesome deal. And the reason I did is because I love the size and the shape of this for the project I'm wanting to do, but I didn't really care for this poker scene, obviously, because that's not what I want it to end up looking like. But I thought for $7.99, this guy is solid wood. It is huge. I would never find this somewhere else for that cheap. So I went ahead and purchased it. Now, originally, I had planned to peel this picture off. That was my first plan. Then I got to thinking, this is a nice smooth surface. And if I peel this off, I'm going to have to deal with the paper that's left behind. So I decided not to do that. So I'm going to glue this back down from where I did my little test peel up. And then I'm going to use paint on top of this smooth surface and make this go really easy. Now you will have already seen it in the thumbnail, so you know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to be making a wreath out of some buttons. I'm going to use chalkboard paint on top of here to get this flat black. The reason is, I find that chalkboard paint does a really good kind of one coat process, and I just want to use it. Plus, I don't have any black chalk paint in my stash. They are two different paints, guys. I don't even have any black acrylic right now. You could use acrylic for this too, I just don't have any. And if you guys ever watch me, you know I'm a person who believes in use what you got if it works, and this will work. So I'm going to take this black chalkboard paint and I'm going to cover this image in this black chalkboard. Now let me say this. Let's say you wanted to do a project that was a big chalkboard. You could purchase a picture like this and do exactly what I'm doing with the chalkboard paint, and you'd have a great chalkboard when you finished. And it was on clearance for $7.99. From the looks of this, this is going to take 2 coats. No big deal. I don't mind that. It might take 3 because those cards are pretty white. But if it does, we'll do it that way. So I've got all of the paint on. This is only 2 coats of chalkboard paint, and it covered totally. You can see there's a little bit drying up there, a little bit drying down here, but I'm not going to be near that, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now, a couple things. At first, I was going to just take a paper plate, lay it in the middle, and draw a circle with a pencil. And then I have these wooden buttons that I picked up from a floral supply store, and they come in several different sizes. So I got red ones and white ones that I'm going to lay around that circle. That was my plan at first. But then I thought, why waste this space in the middle, right? So I went to my computer, and on some cardstock, I printed the words Merry Christmas. Then I took the plate, I cut the middle out so I could see what I was doing, and I eyeball centered that on the plate and then cut that circle out. Okay, so now I have a rough cut circle that says Merry Christmas. And this is going to be my guide for putting all the buttons around the wreath. Now I'm an eyeballer, so I'm just going to eyeball where I want this to go, and anytime I get off center, I can move my buttons to make it work. Now I'm going to hot glue this down in just a couple places, and the reason is it will hold with all the buttons I'm putting on top. I'm really not going to need much to hold this little cardstock in place because all those buttons are going to be where it ultimately seals it down. Also, I'm kind of putting my wreath a tiny bit to the top, not a lot. I've got about this much space here, and then when I come down here, about an inch more, because I'm going to put a bow at the bottom of the wreath. So I'm kind of a little tiny bit high, but not too much. Now these are the buttons that I found, and they are so cute. They are wood, and they came in this bag that kind of looked like potpourri, and at first I thought they were. I thought they might be scented, but they're not. I found them at a floral supply store, and I will try to find them to link them below, but I don't know if I'll be able to. But any buttons will work. So I have 3 sizes, and what I think I'm going to do is just kind of start placing these guys around and decide where I want them to be, just to kind of get me started. So what I've kind of decided to do to get started and to keep myself on track is to kind of give myself a little pattern of buttons to start with. You don't have to do this. If pattern bothers you, just be messy and put them any way you want to. But by having them like this, now I can come back in between and glue and get some dimension with these smaller buttons here and there and really build my wreath up so that I keep my circle. So these guys I'm going to glue down. So now that I have those glued down, I'm going to go and take the other sizes of buttons, and I'm going to kind of zigzag this pattern. Put a little glue on 2 edges of that, And then I'm going to kind of bring this one to the inside of these two buttons. Then this red one, I'm going to sit it up here like this and just work my way around. So you see how I'm kind of zigzagging that? So you see how I brought the white one in, the red one out, and I'm going to come over here and I think I'll bring a white one down here. Something like this. Just kind of in and out as I go, just up and down. Now that I have those glued down, I'm going to come in with the smaller buttons and periodically place a smaller button on an opposite color of button. So this white one goes on a red. And just kind of fill in and give it a little movement. Now you probably can't see on the screen, but I'm going back through and like here's a little hole where those are not touching very well. I'm adding some hot glue to a small white button and just sliding it under to kind of keep our circle shape going. You can see there what I'm doing, just kind of adding it underneath. Then I did the white on the black side over here. I'm going to do the same with these smaller red ones on the white side, so onto the white paper, just to keep our shape. So now it's bow time. And I have this ribbon that's kind of checkered, which I think will be super cute, like a gingham there. And then I have some other ribbons I'm going to play with. I don't know. I may bring this one in because I like the stripe to add to that. I have some others I'm just going to play. But I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to make a bow. So I'm going to leave myself a tail for the bow and then make my first loop here. And then wrap another loop around. And I'm going to start first by seeing what size of a bow I'm going to want. So I'm going to lay that there. And I think I'm going to want a little bit bigger than that. So let's adjust this. Yeah, so something about like that. And then I want to add another loop because I want it to have 2 or 3 loops. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to keep playing and see. I think 3 loops are the way to go. Now remember, a couple of things. You can use your bow dabber for this. You can use, I have a video showing you how to make bows, so you can use that any old way you want to do it. I'm just doing it this way, just kind of rough and by hand. So basically what I've done is made my little loops, and I've got kind of a mess going on here, right? I'm going to take another piece of ribbon and tie this in the middle. Instead of using wire like I normally do, I'm going to use ribbon. I want to have more tails, so this is a good way to do that, to just add some tails by doing this. So I'm tying that in the middle. And now you have to do the fun part. What a mess, right? I wanted you to see how messy that would be. So I'm going to pull this down. This is wired ribbon, so I can do a lot of playing with this and get this just like I want it. Not too stressed about it, really, because I'm going to make it look okay. Don't worry. Look what a mess, right? So let's start pulling out our bow. So there's one side, and that will probably be just fine like that. And then I'm going to start pulling out the other side. And see how I'm kind of moving that wire to where I want it to be? That's what you're going to do. Play with it and make that wire do what you want. And then make the tails go where you want them to. Pretty cool, right? Not perfect, and don't worry, I'm going to add another bow into the center, and I may even put a big button. So now I'm going to glue this right here just like that. I'm not trimming the tails yet because I don't know where I want them. So I'm just leaving them like that for now, and we'll worry about those in a few minutes. Now I'm going to add another bow to the center because I want to add some red and white. I'm going to do the same thing. I start with this loop with a little tail. I think I'll give myself more tail than that. Then I'm just going to make loops behind, 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 and maybe one more. And then I want to leave myself some for a tail. So I'm going to trim some of that off. I only had this tiny piece left, but it's perfect to tie our bow in the middle with. So I've got my bow here. And I'm just going to wrap that around, turn the bow around, and tie it. Now this ribbon is not wired, so if you want to do any messing with this one, you need to do it now. And one thing I want to show you, the way we did the bow, you can take your finger and run it through, grab all 3 loops on both sides of this bow. Just put your finger through all 3 loops like this, and then you can pull and wiggle and it will even itself out. And then all you need to do is adjust your center to make sure you're in the middle and then tighten that back down. So now we have another 3-loop bow, super easy. These 2 short tails I probably won't keep because my ribbon was too short, but these longer ones we will keep. Then I'm just going to glue this one into the middle right here. And see how cute that is? And because it's not wired, the wired ribbon itself is kind of giving it some height by holding it up. So that's really cool. So I'm just going to hot glue that one into the middle. Hold that while that cools for a few minutes. And the last thing I'm going to do is put a little hot glue on top of that bow and add a button. I might even add 2. I'm going to start with this white one. Then while that's drying, go ahead and mess with your little bows and get them where you want them, because that's going to help to hold them in place as well. Now I can trim these tails, and I think I'll dovetail them. So I'm going to fold this in half, wires together, and then I'm going to snip at an angle. Get rid of that, and I'll show you what we created. We created a dovetail. So there's one, and because it's wired, I can put it anywhere I want it and adjust it how I want it, and I'll do that once I get it on the wall. So there you go, that is it. And it was super easy, but wow, right? What an impact. So I think this one turned out good. I love this bow hanging at the bottom and kind of low. So you can see now why I kind of went to the top so the bow would have plenty of room. But I think it works. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This one was pretty frugal too. $7.99 here. These guys were like $4.99 a pack. And that's just white cardstock from my stash and ribbon from my stash. So not very expensive. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I cannot wait to share more projects with you, and I can't wait to see what you guys create. So head over to my Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I, and share with me what you're making. We love the inspiration. We love to see it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.